Hey YouTube, Moose Cow here, back with a little update to our Dutch East Indies expansion, version 1.5. This is what we got in the download link in the video description, the little Google Drive folder. You can download this as well as our Spain rules. Our Spain rules have also been updated, nothing rule-wise, but just a change of font for the setup and summary, etc., just to blend it in a little more with the rule books, and just some formatting things. But otherwise, the rules are exactly the same. So go ahead and re-download that Spain version if you have an older version, and download this. So yeah, this is right there. If you've seen our previous video, this will be very similar about the Dutch East Indies. Not much has changed. The only thing different is that we've added a Dutch infantry to Borneo, and this is because Borneo was actually split in control between the UK and the Dutch, and we didn't want to change the territory to split it, because if we did that, then technically it wouldn't be an island. It's the same reason why Sired Blood didn't bump up Dutch New Guinea more than one IPC, because even though it had more oil than Celebes, according to him, if he bumped up another IPC because it's split between these two sea zones, then it would technically not be an island anymore. So that would allow a minor industrial complex to be built there. So we're just leaving Borneo as is, and as you can see, this is BBR. This is the BBR 3 map. So Madman and I, we've play tested it more with BBR 3. We haven't played it with BBR 4. Most of our expansions and stuff are primarily aimed for BBR 3, but anyway, you get the idea. But we've played it numerous times. We like this. We initially played this with the old video. We played this with out of box. We've since transitioned to BBR, obviously, and have played this with BBR numerous times, and it works quite well. Doesn't bog down the game. Kind of makes just the Pacific a little more interesting. Gives a little bit more of a challenge to Japan, and also a little bit more incentive for the Allies. The other change, in addition to the Borneo infantry, is that originally we had the Dutch government in exile representation. We had that as an optional rule. That is now an official rule. It's not optional for us anymore. If you don't, of course, I can't make you include him, but if you don't want to include him, you don't have to. But for us, it is not an optional rule anymore, and I'll come back to him in a little bit. So if also we were thinking about it for a while, just because I'm sure some people have asked about this. We thought about adding a couple of Dutch destroyers in 42 and 41. However, we decided ultimately that this kind of, if these aren't allowed to move or whatever, this kind of hoses Japan just a little bit. Because they can't naval, when they attack, they can't naval bombard these territories. So you can add them if you want, but they're not part of our expansion officially. Now, where else? So yeah, okay. So if you haven't seen our other video, the rule is exactly the same as before. Essentially, these Dutch infantry, and there's 2 here, 2 in Sumatra, 2 in Java, 1, 1, 1, and 1, right? So how this works is that the political situation is different. Anzac and UK cannot take control of these territories. They cannot take control of these territories until they're at war with Japan. And this is more historically accurate than the out-of-box, which I know it's more of a game mechanic. But looking at a little bit of history online, you can see that that did not happen. The Dutch did not let the Anzac and UK just take control of their islands before they were at war with Japan. Pearl Harbor happened, and the next day the Dutch declared war on Japan because they saw everything else that was going on. They're like, okay, fine, it must be done, more or less. So how we have that represented, and then of course after that, the Japanese came in and steamrolled them, and part of the reason that they steamrolled them was that the local Indonesians in these territories were sick of the Dutch, who had a oppressive, racist system of government there. And so they were very sick of them. So while the Japanese are attacking these territories, the Dutch are also dealing with local Indonesian uprisings. So because of that, these Dutch units defend at a 1 as opposed to a 2, unless there are Allied ground units in those territories. So if ANZAC comes in and drops a AAA or an infantry off in Java, these two then defend at 2 as normal. But if ANZAC takes these guys off, they still control the island because they brought a ground unit on there. However, these guys are alone, so now they go back to defending at a 1. And the kind of cool thing about this is that because there's 2 guys here and 2 guys here, and there's the air base over there from BBR, Japan kind of has a decision to make. Do they want the 3 IPCs in an airbase, or do they want 4 IPCs and to knock out 2 infantry in either of these territories before the Allies get to them? So that's basically the idea. So yeah, they don't move. They cannot be loaded onto transports. They stay on these islands, so they don't give. They don't overpower the Allies with being able to be offensive. They're purely defensive units. They stay in those territories. Now, the one exception is the Dutch infantry here, the Dutch government in exile in the UK. So this guy can move, and we've fine-tuned the rule on his movement. Originally, we had it so that when an amphibious assault happened into Holland, Belgium, successfully, he could then be bridged across, even if there wasn't technically available space on one of those transports to do so. However, we realized that the way we had it written, if the Allies came in here from France, say, and didn't do an amphibious assault, then technically how we had it in the rule book, this guy would not be able to be bridged across. So that is now different, and so how we have it is either whatever ally takes control of Holland, Belgium, as long as they have an available transport, either during the non-combat phase of their turn, as long as this is Allied controlled. So say these guys come over here, say the UK comes over here, then on the non-combat phase of that turn, this guy can be bridged across. If, say, the US comes in here and takes control of Holland, Belgium, and it's still that way on the UK player's turn, then these guys can be bridged across, and this guy can be bridged across, even though there's not technically room on this transport to do so. And the idea with this is that it symbolizes, France gets 4 IPCs, or sorry, not 4 IPCs, more often 4 infantry, 12 IPCs worth of units put down in Paris immediately if Paris is liberated, right? So that kind of just represents that a little bit with just 1 infantry. And if Germany has an opposition to 1 infantry, and this is the only time it can be moved, it can't then be moved into there or wherever. If Germany has an opposition to that, I'd be surprised. But yeah, just 1 guy. You scared of 1 Dutch infantry, Germany? Are you sure? Anyway, so that is more or less our rule. And you can download that from the Google Drive link in the video description in this video. So there you go. That's all there is to it. Let me know what you think, if you got any questions. And until next time, guys.